Hey, welcome back to Social Rehab. You know who it is. It's here. It's Jerickson.
And it's your boy AC Jr. Let's
Okay.
get it.
Hey, welcome back. Like I said, it's a stage from host to CEO, so we want to make sure that everybody's tuned in here. Tell me about the week, Alex, man. What's going on, man?
So, man, this week on a personal level, it was good. On the
Personal
team
level on what, though?
Yeah, personal level was like, it was about 35K in annualized volume.
Okay, so you're talking about work, basically.
Yeah, work. The week,
damn,
35K, top 10 in the whole company.
Sure. Okay. Hey,
And my life for the last week, it was still a good week. I feel like I was honest with myself.
Okay, that's important.
Talk to my daughter as much as I could. But I know you have something to say about this week too, so go ahead and
yeah, for sure. Shout out to the team. We went and stomped out Alex's team. So, hey, big shout out to the guys over there, guys and gals. Great job. Obviously, we're able to help as many families as we can. Save a lot of people out there thousands of dollars. So if you're one of those people out there that are overpaying for something, just reach out to us, man. We'll see what we can do for you. There's gonna be a link attached to this, and we'll be able to save somebody some money out there. But yeah, that's pretty much all it was. Obviously, trying to keep it upbeat, trying to keep it positive out here. So the week wasn't bad. Just trying to stay wholesome with myself, healthy with myself, and that's really all it is, man. That really is all it is.
Definitely. So Jerickson, tell me about one of your goals. I know you're from Boston. You've been down here for about a year. Like, what are your goals going forward? What are you looking to do?
For sure, the main thing especially with social rehab, right? The main thing that I'm trying to aim for is just tying the city together. I've been out here for a full year.
You love it.
Full year, and I'm growing.
Yeah,
I'm
you
growing
love it.
into it. I'm growing
You
into
love
it.
it.
But a full year, and I'm trying to make sure that I tap in with the best of the best.
It's only right.
Shout out to the best podcast in the city, Social Rehab. Hosted by the best of the best. But yeah, just trying to tap in with network with the best of the city, whether it's real estate agents, investors, businessmen or businesswomen, preferably the women. That was a joke.
Shout out you, Tampa. Shout out you, Tampa women.
And then, best trainer. If you're the best trainer out there, tap in with us. We want to talk to you, see what you're doing. The list goes on, right? Yeah. You can't stop associating yourself with the best of the best. So that's literally the focus. It's just to keep associating with that, man. That's
really and I got to give a big shout out to you, man, because your trading resume is ridiculous. So, back in the day, I used to be on stage doing like physique and stuff, so I wasn't out there in a thong and shit or nothing like that. But I was definitely on my P's and Q's when it came to working out.
Hell yeah.
But you do that as a grown man on a daily basis every day. When I wake up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, you've already got like 3 posts about, going to the gym and stuff. So talk to me about the mindset of you just going to the gym, waking up, and when your body's telling you no, but your mind's telling me yes, or vice versa. Like, how does that happen?
The one thing that I tell anyone that asks me this type of question is, in my eyes, I'm trying to live a life, right? I want to live a life, and I want to be as productive as possible to get to that point that I, in my head, have a vision of. So, every day is, I'm not going to say the easiest thing to do to get up at 4 a.m. I'm not going to lie about that. It's always a struggle. But at the same time, it's not worth sleeping more and more and more and kind of forfeiting that time, right? So the time to me is worth way more than sleep.
Yeah.
So in that, productivity is number one thing in my eyes. So if you are, somebody that wants to, hit certain amount of goals, then you got to just sacrifice a lot of stuff. And to me, that's sleep. Get things done. Just go out there and get things done. That's it's as simple as that. A lot of things out there, simple, not easy, right? It's so simple to just tell yourself, I got to wake up. But is it easy? Not every day. Yeah. You just got to overcome those little battles on a daily basis. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So when you're talking about waking up, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and like I said, I want to do it. I just don't bring myself to do it, especially with the vibe that is going around now. Like 50% of people will say they need a 6-pack. And then the other 50% of women would be like, I need a dad bod. And I'm like, I got the dad bod on lock. You know what I mean? Like that's I'm working for that. And I've been on both sides of the spectrum. Like I've been a 6-pack guy working where it's been my life. But at the end of the day, I'm not ever doing it for a female or doing it. It's about
I was about to say that.
It's like you want to make sure you're healthy. So like,
no, for sure.
And I get it 100%.
And let me ask you this: what body do you prefer? Like in the headspace, obviously, one thing comes with certain. You have to be like, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be disciplined in a way, you know, to look a certain way, versus just letting life happen and like living and looking another way.
100%. So I don't want to be like, I don't need a 6-pack. But I definitely want to. I feel like health is really important. So Absolutely. I do want to like go to the gym. Whether it might not be 5 times a week, 7 times a week, a couple times a week, and make sure that I get right. Because if you're working out, you're trying to be healthy type stuff. And I got to get it back to that. It's something that I got to away from because you know better. Yeah, you know better than me. That when I was on stage trying to do the physique stuff, I was working out 2-3 times a day.
Right.
Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't need to do that. That's not my goal.
That's not even necessary.
But I do want to, like, eat right. I want to make sure that my life has longevity.
Right.
I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
I want to be that 90-year-old that has some muscles.
Right. No, for sure.
You know what I
mean? And it's hard, on a daily basis for a lot of people. It's hard because there's a lot of things out there that just steer you away from being the best version of yourself.
Definitely.
Whether it's professionally or anything, so the main thing is you kind of always have to just check in with yourself. Make sure that you're aware that, look, this is deferring or this is guiding me to my goal, and whatever the case. Anybody has the opportunity. Anybody has the capability of hitting their goals, but it's literally just what do you pay attention to, and it might just be so simple to me. I think it probably seems a little bit, I make it seem so normal because a lot of people just battle that all the time. But I really think, in my eyes, it's really that simple. It's super simple to do that. But
it's a mindset.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it all a mindset. Like there's people out there that be like, oh, I sleep when I'm dead. But at the end of the day, the thing that I have to improve on myself is that I love sleep. So I've seen the influencers, I've seen Dwayne, the Rock, and they did like, if you're sleeping, da da da, and I'm like, I will hit my alarm. Like, I'm pretty sure you don't have 10 alarms.
Hell no. Got one alarm. Got one shot.
Alarm. I have 10 alarms.
Just
so
like
when I hit that one, I hit snooze. Like, I know that's not you, and I know that's not what I had to do to get to where I'm at. I just am honest with myself.
Right. No, I mean, it really just depends on how bad you want what you want, right? Do you want to, overcome, because everything's going to come with an obstacle. It's hard to not be happy with where you're at. It's hard to, want to get to where you're at. So in terms of that, you're either going to put effort on getting to where you need to go or just accept that, you're not taking advantage of your opportunities. Opportunities are just, they're outlaid all over the place. So you have to sit there and be like, you know what? This is the point where I need to wake up and get dressed and go to the gym, or this is the time where I need to prepare myself so I'm not scrambling around in the morning looking for something, or I need a meal prep so I can. It's just all preparation. Yeah. You just need to prepare yourself, and the most prepared people in my eyes usually have the easier journeys, even if the preparation aspect of it is takes away from whatever you want to do. It's still just setting yourself up. I mean,
definitely. And if you don't like, if it's not what you want, it makes it 10 times harder. Right. If you want it, it's gonna happen. So people always say, if it's something that you want, even when it comes to a relationship, if you want to be with that person, you're gonna make time for that person. Right. If it comes with working out, if you want to be that person, you're going to make time to go to the gym at 6, 5 o'clock in the morning. If not, you don't really want to be that person.
Exactly.
It's very simple. Exactly. Like, it's very simple. Like, if you make time for what you want, as humans, where if it's something that we want to do, we're going to do it.
Right.
If it's something that we don't want to do realistically, then they're not going to do it.
Right. And that's so huge because, especially, 20s, early 30s, late 30s, mid 30s, or whatever, that is very, very present in our lives where folks just either want to make things happen or they say it, but their actions are going the opposite direction, right? And a lot of times that's, one big topic that I wanted to speak on too. Like, how often do people lie to themselves on a daily basis?
Probably a lot.
In terms of, am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I actually being realistic with what I'm doing? And, what's the formula to get there? If I haven't figured that out already.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what do you think?
So I think that life is you're literally day by day. So you're learning life day by day. You're getting more in tune with yourself. So I think that there's no correct answer to that. I want to say that the more that you trust yourself, the better you're going to be. So the more happy you're going to be, like we talked about on the last episode. So like it goes into a lot more of when you're growing up as a child, you're going by what your parents tell you. You don't know if that's the real you.
Right.
You're just going off about what you've learned.
Right.
So you're a product of your environment, right? So, and it comes to a point to where you're saying, hey, this is what I was told. Let me go out there and find what's real.
For sure.
Right? So, and that's kind of like the situation that I was in. But, one thing that is definitely tough is, dating, whether you're a teenager, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, just taking it day by day and going through life decisions.
Hell yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like that stuff is forever changing to me. There's no correct answer.
Right. And actually, that's a big topic that we want to touch base on the Instagram. We wanted to, make this experience for everybody, social rehab, make the rehab an inclusive experience, basically. So, we put a couple stickers out there. There were a lot of great responses. Shout out to everybody out there, in tune, interactive with us. But there were a lot of great responses. There was one that stuck out. And the one that stuck out was, how is it dating in your late 20s? I'm a single, young man, young professional, doing what I have to do, exploring
Big
a new
baller.
city, exploring a new city, right? So that really, in my head, was like, damn, that's a great question because I'm a new person in the city. So yeah, I mean, let's pull that out.
Okay, so the question was, I think on social media was like, is there genuine people that you can date in their 20s? And correct me if I'm wrong. That was the genuine consistency.
What's the experience of dating?
And my opinion to that would be it's hard to date if you're 18. It's hard to date if you're 25. It's hard to date if you're 35. It's hard to date if you're 45.
It's just a struggle. It's
a struggle because people are forever changing.
Right.
So you might meet this person and you love them at 18, and by the time they're 25, you're fucking done with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you want to find somebody that you're happy with and that can grow with, and that you both are on the same common ground.
But if their perspectives always change, how do you make sure that that's the right person?
I think that is $1 million question, because I can sit up here on this podcast and say what I believe in, but I don't think that there is a true answer to that, because I don't necessarily believe that we're supposed to be with one person.
Right.
So maybe that question doesn't. I'm probably not the best person for that question, because I believe we're on this earth. And there's definitely other beings out there. I don't know. But I know that on this earth, there is 50 species, 100 species. We're the only ones programmed to be with one person.
Right.
I believe in happiness, like I said.
Right.
I believe in love.
Right.
Why can't you love more than one person? Like, you love your family.
Right.
Because it's in your mind that you have to love your family. So if you find somebody you love, why can't I love another person the same way that I love you?
You know what? I mean, I don't know. Again, that's $1 million question. I haven't cracked the code, figured it out.
Me neither.
I've never been married. Relationships are very minimal, so I'm not going to sit here and try and give answers. But definitely, the idea is, I kind of look at it as internal. A lot of times, the main thing is, how are you holding yourself accountable? It's hard to date, in your 20s, like you said, 20s, 30s, 40s, in this day and age, just because social media is right in your face. You can go shopping all day you want, as soon as the person that you're talking to is unsatisfying you. So that's the hardest thing to, try and battle against, because however many times you want to tell yourself, no, this is the person I'm going to go with, this is the person I'm going to go with, it's always in the back of your mind, like, oh, I can always reach out to this person that I always had a connection with. Yeah. Or I can always reach out to this person that, told me once before that they'll marry me and they'll be happy with me forever. Like, there's always, in my eyes, there's a lot of people that have a backup plan. And in this day and age, I think that's kind of making things harder. Harder and harder. And it's hard just because social media is such a big part of our lives.
Yeah, definitely. And we talk about the first episode. So for me, dating, it doesn't have nothing to do with your age, because you can see a 19-year-old, a 35-year-old, 25-year-old, 45-year-old act the same way in a different, you know what I mean? Like to me, I'm 33 right now, and I'm still dealing in my mind with high school situations. So the problems don't change. You just get older.
Right.
So, like, if your girl was cheating on you in high school, that shit still happens with you when you're 25, when you're 30. It's the same thing constantly, over and over. And, for me, I just don't fully believe that we're supposed to be monogamistic, tied to one person.
Really?
That's just me. Like, and it took me to become my age and go through the battles and tribulations that I've been through to come up with this. And people are not gonna say, "Oh, I agree." I'll probably get more hate on this. Right. I'll probably get more hate on this. But I'm just saying, like, why do people here think that they're supposed to be with one person? Then they throw religion in my face, and you definitely don't want to have that conversation with me about religion. Like, it's just, like.
It's getting spicier. Hey, man. Hey, shout out to the best podcast in the city, man.
Yeah,
I've been screaming
we
that
definitely
all
keeping
week.
it 100%.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like, it just makes sense to me, and I'm for everybody having their own opinion. On this podcast, I'm going to give you my 100% opinion. Yeah. Jerickson's going to give his 100% opinion. I'm not telling you that I'm right. I'm not saying that he's right. I'm just saying this is a conversation. Man. Yeah, this is speaking. This is therapy.
Speak out, right?
And I'm just saying that I don't necessarily believe. I'm a numbers guy, right? But let's say you're a mathematician. You're a numbers guy. There's how many billion people on this earth? So in your mind, when it comes to being monogamistic or whatever it is, you want to be with one person.
When there's
you're in your mind, you're gonna find that one person
in the globe.
That you're supposed to be with. I'm sorry, I can't. I just, like, I believe.
So how's it supposed to go? So do you want multiple partners?
I want people.
I need to hear this. Hey, best
I'm
podcast in the city. Let's go, man. I need to hear this one. I don't know.
I'm like,
give me the game, bro. Because I'm
gonna say that if you're happy being with one person, that's your happiness. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what you need to do. But don't fault somebody because they're polygamy,
right?
And they have multiple wives or multiple husbands. Right, that's their choice.
Right.
We don't know what
happens.
There's no
rules.
We don't know what happens after we die. Right. It all goes back to religion. Us as humans, 100%, I believe this, think that we're supposed to be monogamistic because of religion.
Right.
Other than that, if there was no religion, as far as, you do the vows and all that stuff, people would just, how would people react? Let me ask you this. If there was no religion, do you think that there would be an issue with people being with one person?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know. But at the same time, I know conditioning is a thing, right? If that is
you are a product of your environment,
right? If that is how time has started, think about the history. Back then marriages, stuck through the end. Now we're getting away from that, and that all stemmed from how we were conditioned, right? We conditioned, and then it's like you have to do what you got to do to, go through the marriage and make it work. Now a lot of people are like, my life is my life. Yeah. I need to be able to be happy. I need to be able to, do what I need to do. And that's kind of hard, right? Because a lot of people start having to make decisions for themselves on top of, living a lifestyle, right? So, that's super hard. And a lot of times I feel, it's not said out loud, but in terms of dating and all that stuff, it's really not usually meant to work out. It's not meant to work out. You aren't supposed to date 3 people and it work out on the first, second, or third person. It's just like things aren't supposed to work out all the time in terms of relationships. And I feel like that's just kind of the reality that we're looking at, just because a lot of people feel like, things seem perfect all the time. So why is it not perfect for me? And then on that aspect, they're forcing themselves to, once they get into a relationship, forcing themselves to be in a relationship if it's, not meant for them, if there's some sort of, emotional or, I don't want physical abuse, all these types of abuse towards the other partner. And, you're not supposed to be in that situation, so it's hard for a lot of people to just realize, man, I'm not supposed to be in this position. Let me take myself out. Let me reassess. Let me build on myself and get myself to the person to be fit for somebody else. And, a lot of times I hear about it all the time, right? A lot of people are just forcing themselves and playing happy, right? Playing happy just really, really comes up so much in, society nowadays. And it's hard. It's hard to, even feel like the real thing actually exists.
Absolutely. And I would agree. And you made 2 points that I want to touch on. First of all, when it comes to social media, right? People aren't posting bad stuff about their relationship. I know personally people that are going through, somebody cheating on somebody, but that girl or the dude will post a picture of them happily as ever.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? That's just, social media is.
It's a lie.
You're grabbing what you want to grab and putting it out. You're not putting out your bad shit. Right. I know somebody that was about to break up over cheating, and then the next day, it was, you know what I mean? I love this guy. You know what I mean? So social media, when it comes to relationships, is fugazi. Right. Fugazi is
right.
Wolf of Wall Street.
But that is what is being presented to the public. So, you showing that perfect side of your relationship is making everyone else feel like that's what I need to get.
It's not real.
It's a facade.
It's fugazi.
So then now, the whole society is looking at it as, I got to find that person that makes me feel that way. So it's just a lot of doubling, a lot of compounding of fakeness, which gets scary. So, in my eyes, if you're looking to get in a relationship in your 20s or whatever, once you find somebody you want to actually go with and you want to be committed to, you got to delete the social media. What are your thoughts?
So first, before I hit that one, that's a good point too. I'm gonna go back to my second point with the dating or whatever, because you said something, and you're talking about back in the day. Yeah. Our grandparents, our great grandparents were in our eyes loyal.
Right.
I don't believe that it's our generation or my generation that came up with cheating. I think that there's a lot less of getting caught.
Right.
So back in the day, there was no cell phones. You had to go to a payphone to hit up your side chick. So there's no, you know what I mean? We're it's not something that we came up with.
Right.
It's been going on. Would never speak ill will of my grandmother. Rest in peace, my grandfather.
Right.
But I didn't get this from anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Right. It's been going on. It's just different ways nowadays, 2022, where you can get caught up.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
For sure.
Respect.
We
can
get caught back. Back in the day, if I was born 40 years ago,
right,
I'm painting and I'm not getting caught at all. I'm knocking bitches down.
Hey, man. Hey.
So, what was the other question?
The question was, what was the other question? Do we remember?
Cole, what's the other question? Hold on. It was a good question too.
Question is, okay. So I understand what you're saying, man. Obviously back in the day, you probably wouldn't be able to get caught. I hear it. It's all good. But talk to me about, the other question. As in, if you're in a relationship, should you delete your Instagram? I mean, I don't know. Talk to me about it.
When you say Instagram, I'm assuming you mean like social media in general, right? Not
Period.
just,
If
I have Instagram,
anything that takes away from, you being productive with your relationship.
I think that's a tough question. I think that if you're honest with yourself and honest with your partner, you shouldn't have to, because you're not hiding anything, right? So if your Instagram, social media is public, things of that nature, there's no reason for you to stop doing what you're doing.
Not in the aspect of let's say, hiding anything, but it also, in my eyes, would be something that's preventative from you looking into anything else, or falling back into a conversation or fall back into thoughts with something else. It's just like, am I going to give myself the opportunity to be enticed, or should I just take it away?
So you're talking about enticement type stuff. Like, why even deal with it?
Yes.
Right. So I think it comes to a personal basis, right? Because if you feel like you're in love with that person, to me that doesn't mean you shouldn't have social media. You should be able to be a grown man or a grown woman to post whatever you want to post. If this person that you're with accepts you for who you are, and you post a picture, they need to trust you enough to not respond to the DMs that you're going to get from that picture. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that you have to delete your social media because you're in a relationship. Do I think that there's a potential in you slipping? Yes. Yeah. But if you believe in yourself, you believe in, who you're in love with, just be you, and you shouldn't have to change that. So if you're a person that posts, 2-3 times a week and you get into a relationship, you should still be able to post 2-3 times a week. Like, they have to accept you for what you're doing and who you are. Now, definitely as your follows grow, you have more women, men jumping in your DMs. Right. Can that bring up a potential issue? Yes. But if you're dating somebody, like I said, it doesn't matter if you're 18, 20, 35, like whatever, you have to have that trust in that person. Yeah. To not respond. Because regardless, if somebody jumps in your DM and you respond, whether no or anything, that's worse. To me, that's 10 times worse than you just not responding at all. Right? So like if you're a girl and your says da 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 and you say no, I have a boyfriend, or no, I'm married, or vice versa, like, just don't respond. You know what I mean? Like,
or if you see it, you shouldn't even be approaching it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but then it ties back to the other thing where it's like a lot of people pretend they're happy. So what if they're just posting stuff just to be part of the social experience?
Yeah,
right.
And that comes to, I think that we hit that point on the first episode, is that if you know you're lying to yourself, then why the fuck are you doing it? Like, if you look into your mirror, whether it's in the morning or at night, and you can't be honest with the person that you're looking at, I think that I'm a good person. Am I the best person out there? Absolutely not. Do I have flaws? Absolutely.
Everyone does.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm more of those people that are honest with myself. Yeah. Like, but if you're going to be lying to yourself, you're in a whole nother dimension. Right. Like, if you have to lie to yourself, you're losing. I don't give a fuck how much money you make. Right. Like, if you have to lie to yourself, you're fucked up. Right. Like, you can't even be honest with yourself. So who the fuck can you be honest with?
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, how often do you think that happens?
I think it happens a lot.
More often than usual, half and half. Some cases.
I think because of social media, it happens more often than usual. Like, I'm thinking 60-70% to where people
6 or 7 people out of 10 are lying to themselves.
Yes, because they
in terms of what? Wealth, in terms of lifestyle, what?
All of it. All of the above. All of the above. Kevin Gates implies type shit. Like, there's no way that these people out there, like I said, you have to be honest with yourself. Right. And these people end up unhappy because they're not honest with yourself. Right. Like, I'm not saying you can't be if you want to, if in your mind you're a bad person, but you're happy being a bad person, then God forbid, that's your decision, or whatever. But people lie to themselves daily, and when you have to lie to yourself, to me, that's just
you're robbing yourself the experience of life.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with you as an individual, regardless of what you do. You could be a post office worker. You could work for Instagram. You could work for Google. You could be an insurance agent, a leader, things of that nature. If you're not happy, then do something about it.
Right.
But if you're lying to yourself about it, like for me, and I think that you feel the same, like I wasn't put on this world. My purpose, whether I believe in a higher power or not, is not to just sell insurance.
Right.
Like insurance is going to, I told you.
It's a vehicle.
I'm going to do it regardless. But I think that I have a higher purpose in life. And one thing about me is I'm not going to wake up in the morning and look at myself and say, I'm the best guy out there. Because I don't believe that right now. I'm not going to believe that I don't have any flaws because I know I have flaws.
Right.
I accept them. So when you're talking about relationships, that person is either going to accept it or they're not. And at the point in my life, I had to go through trials and tribulations. But where I'm at right now is if you don't accept it, then it's fuck you.
Right.
I got to be me.
Right.
Like, that's the only way for me to be happy, whether it's for my daughter or whatever. Like, I deserve to be happy.
Right.
And if it's not with you, I apologize.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
hey, it was worth the shot.
Yeah, like, we tried it.
We'll reset. We'll reassess and reset.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
100%.
I mean, that's hard just because, you know, we all want things to work out as humans.
Definitely.
All want things to work out as humans. We all can, you know, in our eyes see, you know, hey, you know, maybe we can tweak this or tweak that and you will get a different result. But it's hard, right? Just because, you know, especially with headspaces and, you know, what people go through on a daily basis, a lot of times communication is lost.
That's a big point. That's a huge, communication is key. That's
not
pushing P. Yeah, pushing P. If you can't communicate, you know, that's not pushing P.
So, yeah, no, if you're losing that communication aspect, now we're just all assuming, you know, how things should be going based off your perspective. And then I'm looking at it based off my perspective. If our perspectives aren't unison, you know, generally speaking, I'm not dating cooks, obviously. But, you know, in terms of relationship, like if the perspectives aren't in unison, then it's just always bound to be a conflict, because what your thought and what I thought at some point is going to butt heads, and there's going to be a bigger problem, and then it's just going to compound.
Yeah, especially with communication, like you could say one thing and I take it 100% the opposite direction of what you actually meant it.
Yes, I've gone through that a million times, where, you know, I'm communicating with, you know, a female friend or whatever the case is, and, you know, my perspective and my interpretation of what they're saying is, in my eyes, disrespectful. Whereas now they're saying it and it's completely friendly. Where, you know, I just don't take it that way, so I'm responding to it a certain way. Now they're reacting, and it's just building, boom, 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 and then it's more so now we're butting heads when it never should have started that way. I just never understood what you meant.
Yeah, so like, especially when the communication, especially like through text message, right? So I could send a text message to somebody, and if I accidentally or purposely leave one word, I'm talking about one letter, one word, in capitalize, they could get a whole different meaning of what I really meant to say.
Right. A lot of stuff gets lost in translation through text.
Yeah.
Right. Texting is obviously moving into more and more technology. A lot of people want to just text more than they want to talk on the phone, which in my eyes is weird. Right. If I'm talking to a female, you better answer that FaceTime. I gotta see what your reaction is. I gotta see what your face expressions looks like. I gotta see it all. I want to hear the voice. I want to hear it and see it all and experience it all, because, you know, as a person, I want to have a full experience and not just the most minimal and whatever experience.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like FaceTime, because you can't lie on FaceTime, because I can see your face, I can understand your reaction.
Right.
Not text message stuff, I could say a one-liner and you could take it
completely one way or the other way, or whether it's disrespectful or you think I'm the best man on earth.
Exactly. Like I could say something to where you hear or you read what I said, but you didn't understand what I said.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just because of your perception of how the text message.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest thing out here. Just because everyone's busy nowadays, right? We all want to make money. We all want to be on, focus on our jobs and things like that. So texting usually is the most convenient. So if you're texting majority of the time, there's a possibility that things can be misconstrued. There are possibilities of the time that things can be said that, you don't agree with in the way that you're reading it, not in the way that they're typing it.
That shit can go south real quick.
Scary.
Even though that wasn't your intentions.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
So we talked about like dating at 20s, and I think that we both agree that it's hard in general to date nowadays. Like it is what it is. So what do you think about like breaking up? So let's just take it. You dated somebody in your 20s, your 30s, or whatever. Do you believe in clean breakups? So like, do you believe that you guys could break up, you have a conversation, and that be done, and you guys are clean safe?
You know what? I'll be honest with you.
You have to be. It's the best podcast in the city.
Hey, shout out to the best podcast in the city, man, for sure. But any person that I've ever really, maybe except for one or two, that I've had, an extensive relationship with, they would, if I saw them in public, they would run up to me and give me a hug. So, it's not, I've never had an experience, but I've heard of experiences that end bad and it's bad. But I do believe in, ending things on the best terms, whether it went the way you wanted to or the opposite, right? Just because, people on earth don't owe you anything. They don't owe you anything, in terms, they don't owe you anything in their time. They don't owe you, basically, they decided to kind of explore life with you for a little bit. And if it didn't work, it just didn't work. There's no reason why you should feel that anyone should, what's the word? Kind of bow down to you at the end of something.
So if you broke up with somebody or they broke up with you, you think that if you saw them the next week, you guys would still speak on at least respectful terms? That's been your outcome and what you've gone with.
Oh yeah, any girl.
I must be toxic then, because like I don't even remember when's the last time like there wasn't an issue that lasted longer than it should have been. Like even if we're adults and we're mature, like if I see her out or she sees me out, like it's gonna be pressure. Like we want all the smoke. You know what I mean? Like that's. But I do believe that about you because you're just like a genuinely nice guy. As far.
But you are too, though.
Yeah, but I'll accept the fact that I'm toxic. Like, and that's probably why the reason what I'm saying because I do like toxic females. That like if I tell you to jump, I don't want you to tell me how high. I want you to be like, nah, that's not me. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give me some type of rebuttal.
Right. Yeah,
if you say how high, like Coming to America when Eddie Murphy was like, yo, bark like a dog. And he was like, ruff, ruff, ruff. And then Coming to America 2, she's still barking.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not me. That's not what I'm attracted to. So I do attract toxic people, but there should be some type of communication to it. Like, if it's not meant to be, we could still be adults about it, and like we don't have to hate each other after the fact. So
I get it. So now you're telling yourself, or you're telling me and everyone else watching, you like toxic behavior, right?
I am attracted to it. I don't know if
you're attracted to it. So how? Well, what's the end goal? Maybe that's the reason why, in my eyes, it's the vision isn't, to make it the long-term thing with a partner. That's why it's always so short, concentrated, and such a great experience, because at the end of the day, you like toxic, and toxic isn't sustainable for a long time.
I mean, I think honestly, I'm gonna have to disagree. Like, I think toxic relationships are good because it keeps you engaged. Like, you don't know what's gonna, like, you know what's gonna happen, and you still do it, and it's just exciting.
Bro, life's too hard.
Yeah, you're right. But like, for people who are like, there's toxic people out there that could be with toxic people. In my eyes, is because it's just fun. Like I said, I don't want to come home and I don't want an easy layover. I want her to like argue with me and combat me type stuff and like make up some shit. To, like that's interesting to me. That's probably if you go to rehab next week and you go to tell your therapist I'm toxic, this is what I like, they're probably gonna look at you like, well, at least you know.
Right.
The first part is accepting it. So
now, do you think that's from the nature of you as a person, or is that based off of your past?
I think that it has a little bit to do with both. So like, I think that I did have, in my past relationship, somebody who, if I said jump 3 times, they would jump 3 times. And I had somebody who I said jump 3 times, and they was combative about it. Like, I'm not saying I literally said that. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Example.
And it's just like, it's more exciting to
when
me.
Somebody
when like, it's not at your beck and call. Like, you like us as humans, like, we want stuff that we can't have. We don't want it to be too easy, because once it becomes too easy, you turn to something else. So in a relationship, you have to find that balance that is like, I'm going to give him this, I'm going to give her this, but I'm not going to give them too much.
Right.
Like, I still got to stand my ground.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean, is that fixable or not fixable?
Are we talking about like, because my view on relationships is, hey, let's be animals. Like, there's an issue to me in my personal, and it contradicts the situation that I'm in right now, is that we are the only species on Earth that's supposed to be monogamistic. Like, I think I've seen a show where I think penguins are supposed to be with one person. So where did this come up with? And that takes us to a whole nother thing with like religion. Like, why can't you love more than one person? I don't like no, and everybody who rebuttals that question has something to do with religion. But in religion, it has to do something with faith. So for me, it goes back to be happy. Like, you got to find somebody who you like. If you want to be polygamy, or you know what I mean, you want to have 5 different girls, and you have 5 different girls that could do that, then that's on you. Like that.
So happiness. So there's no rules to happiness.
I think that there's no rules to happiness, because once you're happy, like, I don't think that there's people out there that are happy, like, committing murders, committing crimes. Like, that people commit crimes, murders, rob people because they're unhappy and they want something else, that they think that it's going to get them there. For me, it's like, yo, I'm not judging you. We're supposed to be monogamistic. We're supposed to be with one person because of how we were raised, product of your environment. So I had this conversation with my mom literally like 2 days ago. You have people who literally blow themselves up and kill other people for their God. Across, like, we've had that in the United States. Right. I don't know no Christians that I know that are blowing themselves up because of what they believe in. So to me, they really believe in that. Right. How many people do you know that's going to say, I'm going to blow myself up for something? So what makes us right and what makes them wrong? They don't know the difference. They're a product of their environment. It's deep. You know what I mean? It's deep. I'm not saying that they're right, because I don't want anybody.
Hey, this is the best podcast in the city.
Exactly. Like, I'm not saying like you need to go out there bombing people. I'm just saying, like, we're a product of environment. If you're raised in the States, you believe in Christianity or Catholic, but if you're raised overseas, they don't have the opportunity to say or choose that they want to be Catholic or Christian. They have what they're raised in. If you get raised in saying like, hey, I'm supposed to do this for my God, what makes them wrong and what makes us right? That is something that I have an issue with on a day-to-day as far as like religion. Right. Like,
it's very conflict.
Like, how does if there is a higher power, if there's a God, like, how can you judge somebody off of them not even having a choice, right?
Gotcha. So, in terms of, just being faithful then. So is that something that's worth doing? Is it real? Should it be real? Should it be not? Like, in terms of relationships, faithfulness, like, is that I don't know.
I think that it is a real thing, but I think that people focus on it for the wrong reasons. Like, if you being faithful makes you happy, then I'm all for it. But if you're battling being faithful to somebody because you feel bad if you do cheat on them, but that's what you want to do, like you want to have a relationship with somebody else, then there's an issue.
Right.
Like, I do believe there's people out there that say, hey, I'm going to be faithful to this person. Absolutely. Then that's what you need to do. I've been that way for most of my relationships, if not, not 9/10 of my relationships.
Right.
Like, I believe like I'm a faithful guy, but I'm at a point in life to where like I'm not a bad person if I love multiple women.
Right.
I'm not a bad person if I have love for multiple people.
Right.
And I think that us as a society says that that's wrong. And I don't necessarily agree with that.
Right.
Like, I'm a numbers guy.
Right.
Right? Like, there's a billion, however many people it is, when it comes to religion, you're born. I was born in Florida. I'm supposed to find the one person I'm supposed to be with for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
To really believe that.
Right.
And it's just something that I have a hard time with, basically.
And tie that into, being an entrepreneur, right? We want to reach heights that people in our families haven't reached. So to be able to get to that point, you got to find somebody that not only fits that aspect of being a real person with you, they also have to agree with living the lifestyle that you need them to live to be able to achieve what you need to achieve.
Preach. So, like, with females, like, what's the one thing? Like, there's a couple things that females always want. Females always want your time, right? But they also want designer. You know what I mean? Like, Like, females always want you. They want to be your number one priority, but they also want to have the mansion,
the number
house.
one thing.
They want to have designer. They want to have the best of everything.
Okay.
And it is extremely hard, if not impossible, to make it there.
While giving time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to find somebody who's capable of understanding, like, hey, you're gonna have to sacrifice the time with me now
For the time being, yes.
For in a couple years when I could buy you everything you want.
Right.
But if you're bitching and you're crying about spending time with me on a daily basis while I'm trying to get there, it's not gonna work because you're trying to make me feel bad of giving something that you already said that you wanted.
Taking my mind away from the mission, then I'm not giving you what you want. It's all just not being productive.
Yeah, like if and it happens. I feel like there's a lot of people out there, whether you're a male or female, that happens 90% of the time. Like, people, whether you're a male or female, are not successful because your significant other says, "Hey, this is what we want. This is what I want." But when you have to actually like go through it, they're not really to take the sacrifice.
Right.
Like, I don't believe, like, there's no people out there that's successful that didn't have to sacrifice time with their family.
Right.
Like, I can't give you designer. I can't give you whatever you want and be with you 24/7.
Right. Because at that point, we should have just played the lottery and got lucky.
Exactly. Like, what I feel like you hitting the lottery is better than me being successful.
Right.
And that's a huge issue that people need to get over. Like, you can't fault a man, you can't fault a woman if you guys come to the agreement and say, this is what I want. If you're not willing to make a sacrifice, and that's why people end up divorcing, like, that's why, because you said this, but when it actually happened.
Right. Now, that's why, just a theory of mine is, you got to be the person that you want to be able to live the life with somebody that you want to live. Right. So, like, you're in your aspect, you're saying, I can't give you time and designer, so let me just work on myself too. And it's hard, right? Nowadays, again, social media, you want to always live the best life that you can, and not get deterred, not get distracted, all this stuff. There's so much stuff pulling you away from the path that you want to be on. So it's tough. But as a person, as someone that is tied to a mission, You got to let yourself say, yo, I want to achieve being this person. So when I'm in a relationship, I can provide all the designer. I want to be able to provide the, clothing that you want. I want to be able to provide the vacations and, gifts or whatever the case is, anything that you want. But, I got to actually get there, so if you want, and that's big, right? Nobody wants to go through the phase of being that person. Nobody wants to go through the phase, the discipline, being the person that you have to be to get to that point. But they want to get to that point.
Definitely. They don't want to put in effort. They don't want to put in the work. And it just becomes an issue to where, like, it's one thing to say that you want this stuff. But it's another thing to go out and get it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to sacrifice. Like, I'm 100% content being who I want to be, right, going after what I want to be. And so if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
So if you're not the person that, in my eyes, I have a life and that's literally the last person that I was talking to, I said this to that person. I'm not, who I want to be.
Not yet.
Not right now. I'm not that person who I want to be to provide you what you and I are looking for. So I shouldn't even be dating.
Yeah, and if you are gonna date, you got to find somebody who's 100% willing to accept the risk of. Sometimes you can't do Netflix and chill because you got to be at work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't. Yeah, you can't go out and go to a 5-star meal because you got to go to work.
Right.
So I think that it is a huge issue with people who want to be successful and people who are content with.
So basically, you shouldn't even be considering dating if you're not the person you want to be.
That is a 100% top priority. That's why it says when you're talking about dating at 20, if that person is not where they want to be at 20, you don't really know who they're going to be at 25. You don't know who they're going to be at 30 because they're not. They got a journey,
right?
Like they
haven't got to the point where
they're just having. If you're with somebody who's content and being where they're at, then okay. But other than that, like you shouldn't be judged because I'm 33 years old, starting a podcast. Because there's people who are older than me that have a podcast. So what's the difference of you being me starting it at this age and somebody who's 33 already doing it?
Right.
It's no the same thing. To me, there's no difference. Right. I want to be successful, so I'm going to try every avenue that I have to do or I can do to be successful.
No, for sure.
And that's where there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of, people talking shit. Same thing when you become 1099. Right. It's the same exact thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, you worked 40 hours.
People have their own opinions and things like that. No, for sure.
And I'm at a point in my life now to where it's just like, if you're not with me, then it's fuck them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just it.
Right. Even starting and tying back to what we do, right? Even starting the insurance business at 30, 35, 40 years old, right? People are going to have that opinion, but you can't, there's no rules. That's the number one thing I say to anybody that I come across. There's no rules to anything. I don't believe in it. There's no rules to life. You literally do what you got to do, and you create the reality that you want. And anybody that does the opposite are those people that go to college for 4 years and then go to, those 9-to-5 jobs, work 40, 50 years, and that, you're just following rules all your life. And what joy does that give you? But anyway.
So people who don't, like for me, I've had, just don't stop dreaming. Like if there's something that you want to do, there's nothing telling you don't try it.
Right.
Like, it's society. Like I don't care if you're 40 or 50. If you want to start doing whatever it is you want to do, you're not gonna know unless you try it.
Right. Now, now, what about if you're in a position where you have a family and kid, or you have your kids, wife, all that stuff? How do you approach that?
So I'm still gonna be able to provide for my family, for my kids, or with my situation. my daughter's always gonna eat. Like, there's nothing to it. So that doesn't mean that I can't stop living,
right?
Stop dreaming,
Right?
You know, stop wanting to move forward because I have a daughter.
Yeah.
Like, people get into a situation to where they believe, okay, you have a daughter, you're this age, you can't move forward. You can't keep dreaming.
Right.
To me, I'm like, fuck that.
Right.
Fuck that.
Right.
Like, that's the problem with us. Like, we get to a point to where people
this is it.
Yeah, this is it. Like,
okay,
I didn't get what I wanted. Doesn't mean your dreams can't change. I've
Right.
tried any and everything. I've been police.
Absolutely.
I've done hair. Like, you don't know anybody out there that's done more things that I've tried, and I'm going to keep doing it until I'm successful,
Right.
until I find my niche.
Absolutely.
Right?
Hell yeah.
So
now in that aspect, you know, does your girl play a role on that, or does she? It doesn't matter, the female or not female.
So because if you're talking to somebody, you're dating somebody, you especially for us guys, like, I don't know about women, you know, but we portray somebody, so especially in the dating portion, to where, like, a lot of us, at least I did, so I'm assuming all of us do, but we portray something that we're not, right? So we need to just do better at being honest with ourselves and being honest with that person, to where when you do start dating, you don't have to change.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be that guy who
goes from one version to another.
like, you don't have to do that.
Gotcha.
Just be yourself from day
Yeah.
one, and, you know, if you evolve and your partner can't evolve with you,
They can't keep up.
it's a wrap. Like,
Right.
don't feel bad
Detach,
about it.
reset,
reset, and keep
reevaluate,
going.
keep
Perfect.
Hey man, shout out to everybody if you listen to this.
Yeah, this is the
you know,
realest
you made it this
podcast in
far.
the city.
Best
like,
podcast in the city, man.
Hands
Shout out to
down.
my guy AC over here. Again, my name is Jerickson. Follow the page. You know, like the page, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. Where do they find the page at, man?
Social Rehab, TPA,
Okay.
Instagram. I think we got a TikTok. We're definitely going to have a YouTube, or we have a YouTube and stuff like that. Make sure you guys check us out next week.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, I'm AC Jr. Next week, we want all the rehabbers, and we got to come check into
back.
rehab.
Hell
It's
yeah.
therapeutical.
Hell yeah. Get back to the rehab. You know, we're like you said, man, we're going to tap in and make sure that we're going to get everything right where we want it to be. So, you know, tap in with us. Again, like the rehab page, subscribe, do all that good stuff. You know, you'll catch us
Stop
at
ghost
rehab
following, man. I got people that's family that is like ghost following. If you see my stuff and you follow it and then you don't like it or you don't follow us, bro, I have an issue with you 100%. I just want you guys to know. We're gonna check in next week.
All right, holla.